Welcome everyone. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of Jurassic Park dinosaurs. As a staff paleontologist here at Jurassic Park, I'm thrilled to guide you through the science and stories behind these incredible creatures that walk among us. At first glance, Gallimimus doesn't quite live up to its name, which means chicken mimic. Its long, scaly tail, clawed hands, and impressive size are far removed from domestic fowl. Yet this late Cretaceous omnivore still exhibits many bird-like features, pioneering an ostrich-like lifestyle long before ostriches themselves evolved. Gallimimus is one of the largest and best-known members of the Gnathomimosaur group, and it's a favorite here at the park. Gallimimus fossils were first discovered in Mongolia's Gobi Desert during the 1960s, thanks to pioneering paleontologists, including several remarkable women who named new dinosaurs. While similar dinosaurs have been unearthed in North America, this species from Mongolia stood out due to its larger size. Adult Gallimimus could grow up to 20 feet long and weigh about 1,000 pounds, though some ornithomimids were even bigger. Gallimimus was far from chicken size. One of the enduring mysteries about Gallimimus is its anatomy. With long arms and large claws paired with a toothless beak, paleontologists have debated its diet and lifestyle for years. For a long time, theropod dinosaurs like Gallimimus were assumed to be strictly carnivorous. However, the lack of teeth in ornithomimids suggests a more diverse diet. It's likely that Gallimimus was an omnivore, feeding on a mix of plants, fruits, seeds, insects, and small animals. Its overall form hints at a lifestyle akin to modern emus, grazing on low-lying vegetation and opportunistically snacking on whatever it could swallow. Although Gallimimus was first described in 1972, it remained relatively obscure until its big-screen debut in Jurassic Park. Who could forget the iconic scene where the herd of Gallimimus is chased down by a T-Rex, with one unfortunate individual succumbing to the predator? While that moment is a product of bringing back dinosaurs from extinction, it's rooted in plausible science. A tyrannosaur named Tarbosaurus coexisted with Gallimimus in Mongolia, and some paleontologists speculate that Tarbosaurus might even represent an ancient species of tyrannosaur. Gallimimus is just one of the many awe-inspiring dinosaurs we care for here at Jurassic Park, bringing the ancient past to life in extraordinary ways. If you'd like to keep learning more about Gallimimus, then this video will feature a complete paleontological profile of the chicken mimic and an attempt to recreate its environment in a park exhibit. Let's take a closer look at Gallimimus, one of the fascinating theropods that lived during the late Cretaceous period about 70 million years ago. Gallimimus is the largest known member of the Gnathomimidae family, often nicknamed the ostrich dinosaurs because of their bird-like build. Our adult specimens here in the park measures approximately 30 feet in length, standing about 6 feet tall at the hip. Their skulls are a little over a foot long, and they weigh between 880 and 1,000 pounds, true giants compared to the younger counterparts. Juvenile Gallimimus are much smaller, around 7 feet long, just 2.5 feet tall at the hip, and weighing around 60 pounds. While Gallimimus itself hasn't left us any direct evidence of feathers, fossils of its close relatives like Ornithomimus show feathered bodies and even wing-like structures. Paleontologists discovered quill knobs on their ulna bones, evidence of feathers that might have been used for display, temperature regulation, or perhaps even something we can't yet fully understand. The slightly feathered theropod had a small, lightweight head, large side-facing eyes, and a long, rounded snout that ended in a toothless carotid beak, much like modern birds such as duck and geese. Its body was built for speed, with pneumatic air-filled vertebrae and a long neck that allowed for swift movements. Their forelimbs were short with weak hands and curved claws, while the long hind limbs gave it exceptional running capabilities. As Gallimimus grew, significant changes occurred in its skull. The rear and orbit shrank, and the snout became longer, a pattern seen in modern crocodiles. Interestingly, the skull was proportionally larger in younger specimens, and the upper profile of the snout was less sloped. The neck ribs fused to the vertebrae only in adults, and the forelimbs grew longer, while the hind limbs remained the same, suggesting that the physical demands of adulthood were different than those of juveniles. This would have influenced behavior as well, with adult Gallimimus potentially using its wing-like structures for courtship, display, and brooding, features absent in juveniles. One particularly intriguing feature of Gallimimus was the highly mobile front part of its neck, much like that of modern chickens and other galliforms. This gave Gallimimus a heightened ability to locate prey on the ground, which, coupled with its large side-facing eyes, made it well suited for scavenging and feeding. Its beak, similar to that of waterfowl, suggests it might have even eaten smaller prey, swallowing it whole, or possibly used its mobility to forage for tough vegetation. This brings us to an important dietary debate. For a long time, we believed Gallimimus was likely an omnivore. However, Newer studies have proposed it might have been herbivorous, grazing on tough plants like modern ostriches and emus. Gallimimus shares some interesting similarities with extinct moas, which were capable of biting off twigs. Its hands, unlike other ornithomimids, were more adapted for digging and raking, suggesting a different feeding strategy. Additionally, recent findings indicate that its beak was more suited for browsing rather than filter feeding, meaning Gallimimus didn't rely on aquatic prey. Still, the debate continues. Some scientists suggest that Gallimimus might have had an opportunistic omnivorous diet, akin to seagulls, with its beak structure potentially allowing it to filter small organisms from water. The presence of gastrolids, stones in the stomach used for grinding tough plant material, also suggests Gallimimus may have relied on plant matter just as many herbivores do. Despite the uncertainty over its diet, there's no denying Gallimimus' physical adaptations were remarkable. The structure of its beak, paired with efficient digestive strategy, helped it thrive in both humid and arid environments. Unlike filter feeders, Gallimimus likely consumed a variety of plant material, and its size offered the advantage of processing large amounts of food to sustain its massive frame. Now let's talk speed. Gallimimus was fast, but was it as fast as the iconic ostrich? Well, estimates suggest it could run at speeds of around 30 miles per hour, much faster than a human, but not quite as fast as an ostrich. Still, Gallimimus didn't need to be the fastest, just fast enough to outrun the predators of its time. Speaking of predators, Gallimimus exhibited fascinating social behaviors. They lived in flocks, much like modern birds, moving in coordinated groups with impressive agility. They would communicate using vocalizations and coordinated arm movements, likely to intimidate predators. When one of their own fell, Gallimimus would respond by extending their arms and vocalizing loudly, sending a clear message to potential threats. However, Gallimimus was not just a passive prey animal. One remarkable example of this was Giba, a particularly bold Gallimimus. When confronted by a raptor, Giba reared up, stomped on the predator's head, and used loud vocalizations to drive it off. This behavior showed that while Gallimimus would often flee from larger threats, it was also capable of standing its ground when necessary. Though, while Gallimimus might have been primarily focused on avoiding predators through speed and social cohesion, it was also more than capable of defending itself when the situation called for it. Now, let's take a moment to explore the fascinating history behind the discovery of Gallimimus' fossils, which have greatly expanded our understanding of ornithomimid dinosaurs. These remarkable fossils were first uncovered in the Gobi Desert, Mongolia during Polish-Mongolian expedition in the 1960s, a collaboration between the Polish and Mongolian Academies of Sciences. Some of the most significant finds came from these localities. Among the key discoveries was a holotype of Gallimimus pilatus, found in Sagan Kushu in 1964 by paleontologist Sofia Kalan-Jaborovska. Remarkably, the specimen was preserved lying on its back, with its skull tucked beneath its pelvis, an extraordinary fossil arrangement that gave us a rare insight into the dinosaur's anatomy. In addition to the holotype, several smaller Gallimimus specimens were found, including a four-limbless skeleton discovered in Burgen Sab in 1967. These findings, along with others, revealed how the dinosaurs in Mongolia interacted with the changing landscapes, providing evidence of dinosaur fauna interchange between Asia and North America during the Cretaceous period. Initially, the mounted fossils were displayed in semi-erect postures in 1968, but over time paleontologists revised their positioning to horizontal stances, more accurately reflecting how these animals likely moved in life. In 1972, the species was officially named Gallimimus pilatus by Hausgels Mosca, Eberanovics, and Rinch and Barsbold, and the name Gallimimus itself comes from the Latin word gallus, meaning chicken, and the Greek mimos, mimic, referencing the bird-like neck vertebrae of this dinosaur. In total, over 25 Gallimimus specimens have been documented, though many are fragmentary, with notable finds including Z-Pal MGD1 from Zagan Kushu and IGM 100 from Bugen Zab. These fossils, some missing skulls, tails, or limbs, continue to provide important insights into the diversity of life in the ancient Gobi Desert. When first described, Gallimimus' fossils were the most complete and well-preserved ornithomimids known, establishing this genus as one of the best-known members of its group. Before the discovery of Gallimimus in Mongolia, ornithomimids were mostly known from North America, with only a few, like Archaeornithomimus, representing Asia, albeit without a skull. The Mongolian-led expedition of the 1970s revealed more Gallimimus specimens, which were later displayed in international exhibits, further solidifying its importance. As more fossils came to light, researchers made new discoveries. In 1988, paleontologist Gregory S. Paul initially reclassified Gallimimus into the genus Ornithomimus. but later revision in 2010 and 2016 brought it back into the Gallimimus genus. Meanwhile, other scientists examined anatomical differences such as the distinctive shape of its beak, which was rounded in Gallimimus compared to the other pointed beak of North America ornithomimids. These differences helped refine the classification and understanding of the group. Despite the excitement around these discoveries, fossil poaching has become a significant issue in Mongolia. In 2009, a Gallimimus fossil trackway was discovered, but much of the skeleton had been removed by poachers, leaving only a few scattered remains at the site. Fortunately, efforts to repatriate smuggled fossils have succeeded, with the return of a slab containing 2 Gallimimus specimens in 2014. In terms of behavior and adaptation, Gallimimus was a remarkable dinosaur. It's thought that its sideways-facing eyes provided limited binocular vision, an adaptation that may have helped it detect predators from behind. Its short tail and lack of a hallux, a backward-facing toe, also point to the specialization for speed, likely used to evade larger predators like Tarbosaurus. One of the more intriguing aspects of Gallimimus is its skeleton. Assistant Professor of Anatomy Aki Watanabe and his colleagues found that it had one of the more pneumatized or air-filled skeletons among ornithomimosaurs, which could have helped reduce bone mass, possibly aiding metabolism, balance, or thermoregulation. As for its speed, early estimates put Gallimimus' running speed at around 29 to 34 miles per hour, faster than most humans, though not as fast as an ostrich. This speed would have been crucial for escaping threats, but its social structure, with coordinated movement in flocks, also helped protect it. In 1972, paleontologist Dale Russell interpreted Gallimimus as a fast cursorial animal, using its speed to escape predators but not as agile as modern groundbirds. He also suggested its coloration may have been influenced by the visions of its predators, providing some camouflage. All of these findings help paint a picture of Gallimimus as a fascinating, highly adapted dinosaur. It was a fast social animal with behaviors designed to protect itself from the dangerous predators that once roamed the earth. Truly, Gallimimus is a prime example of the incredible diversity of life that flourished in the Cretaceous period. Gallimimus is primarily known from the Nemec Formation in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia, a region that, around 70 million years ago, was home to a dynamic and diverse ecosystem during the late Cretaceous. The formation itself is made up of silts, siltstone, mudstone, sands, and occasional sandstones, creating an environment that closely resembled modern-day regions like the Okavango Delta. These layers tell the story of river channels, mudflats, shallow lakes, and floodplains, all of which provided a wealth of resources for the dinosaurs that roamed this landscape. The climate during this time was more humid than in earlier periods, though it was still subject to periodic droughts. Fossil bones found in the region, including those of Gallimimus, are noticeably more radioactive than those found elsewhere. This is likely due to uranium accumulation from percolating groundwater over millions of years, making these fossils not only scientifically valuable, but also interesting in terms of their preservation. Gallimimus, like other dinosaurs of the time, likely inhabited a semi-arid environment with seasonal rains, where rivers and lakes provided a reliable source of water. The Nemec River supported a rich diversity of life, from mollusks, fish, and turtles to crocodilian relatives like Chamosuchus and various species of birds. Alongside Gallimimus, the Nemec Formation was home to a wide variety of other dinosaurs, each playing a unique role in this rich ecosystem. Let's start with the ankylosaurs like Tarchia and Cycania, which are among the most notable herbivores of the region. The ankylosaurs such as Tarchia and Cycania were heavily armored herbivores equipped with thick bony plates and clubbed tails for defense against predators. These dinosaurs likely foraged on low-lying vegetation, feeding on shrubs and ferns that thrived in the semi-arid environment. Their slow, deliberate movements were offset by their formidable armor, making them difficult targets for carnivores. Pachycephalosaurs, including Prenocephaly and Homalocephaly, were small bipedal herbivores known for their thick dome-shaped skulls. These skulls may have been used in social interactions or mating displays, similar to modern-day bighorn sheep. They likely grazed on low-lying vegetation and were agile enough to evade larger predators while using their head for defense when necessary. Hadrosaurids such as Saurolophus and Barsboldia were large herbivorous dinosaurs with broad duckbill-like beaks, adapted for efficiently processing plant material. These dinosaurs likely lived in herds and were among the most abundant herbivores in the region, grazing on plants and shrubs near rivers and lakes. Their size and herd behavior would have helped them protect them from predators. Large theropods like Nemectosaurus and Opisthosilicodia dominated the landscape, using their long necks to reach vegetation high in trees or graze along riverbanks. These enormous herbivores were some of the tallest and heaviest animals of the time, offering minimal defense but relying on their size to deter most predators. They likely moved in herds for protection and foraged in the lush environment created by the semi-arid climate. However, the landscape was not without its dangers. Tyrannosaurs like Tarbosaurus, Larramendi, and Megaradon roamed the area, as well as smaller, agile predators like dromaeosaurs such as Atuchin, and troodonids such as Borogovia, Tocosaurus, and Zanabazar. Even albroosaurids like Mononychus and Nemectonicus made their presence known. In addition, there were herbivorous theropods like Therizinosaurus and Elmisaurus, which were more omnivorous than some of the other plant-eating dinosaurs in the region. Tarbosaurus, a large theropod closely related to Tyrannosaurus rex, was one of the top predators of the late Cretaceous of the Nemec Formation. With powerful jaws and sharp teeth, it hunted large herbivores like Saurolophus and Tarchia. Its size and strength made it a dominant force, though it may have faced competition from other large predators in the region. Alioramus was a smaller tyrannosaurid, but still a formidable predator in its own right. With a long, slender skull and sharp teeth, it likely targeted smaller herbivores or juvenile dinosaurs, using its speed and agility to catch prey. Its unique skull structure distinguished it from larger tyrannosaurids like Tarbosaurus, suggesting a more specialized hunting style. Megaradon was a smaller yet agile theropod that hunted smaller prey in the Nemec Formation. Known from fragmentary remains, it likely had sharp teeth and claws suited for a carnivorous diet, preying on smaller dinosaurs, insects, or other invertebrates. Its size and nimbleness would have made it fast and an efficient hunter. Atusaurus was a dromaeosaur, a member of the group that includes modern-day raptors, known for its slender, elongated body and sharp, sickle-shaped claws. It was likely a fast and agile predator, relying on speed and agility to hunt smaller prey or scavenge from larger predators. Its hunting strategy may have involved stalking and ambushing smaller herbivores. Troodonids like Borogovia, Tocosaurus, and Zanabazar were small bird-like predators with large brain and keen senses. These dinosaurs were likely opportunistic hunters, preying on small vertebrates or insects. Their sharp teeth and clawed feet made them highly effective at catching and consuming a variety of prey. Albroosaurs such as Mononychus and Nemectonicus were small insectivorous theropods with specialized features like tiny arms and a single large claw. They likely used their claws to dig into insect nests or tear apart termite mounds. Despite their small size, they played a unique ecological role eating insects in the environment. Therizinosaurus, a herbivorous theropod, had large claws that were likely used for stripping vegetation or for defense. Despite its fearsome appearance, it likely fed on plants, possibly leaves and ferns. Its massive claws and long neck made it one of the most distinctive dinosaurs in the region, and it was likely too large for most predators to take on. Elmisaurus was a smaller herbivorous theropod that likely fed on plants or a combination of plants and small animals. It shares some characteristics with other omnivorous theropods, using its sharp teeth to process plant material or catch small prey. Despite its small size, it likely faced predation from large theropods like Tarbosaurus or Alioramus. Ansaramimus was a medium-sized ornithomimid dinosaur closely related to Gallimimus. It had a long, slender body and likely shared similar feeding habits, feeding on plants, small prey, or even scavenging. Its name, meaning goose mimic, reflects its bird-like features, including a long neck and beak, making it well-suited to foraging in a variety of habitats within the Nemec ecosystem. Dinosaurus was a massive, bizarre theropod with long arms and a broad, flattened body. Unlike any other theropod, it is thought to have been an omnivore, feeding on both plants and small animals, possibly using its large arms to reach for vegetation or catch prey. Despite its terrifying size, it was likely not a fast runner, relying on its size and adaptability to survive in the diverse ecosystem. Among all these fascinating creatures, Gallimimus was the most common member of the ornithomimosaur group found in the Nemec Formation. Evidence suggests that Gallimimus may have lived in groups, as indicated by fossilized bone beds found in the area. These bone beds imply that these dinosaurs may have exhibited some sort of group living, perhaps using their collective behavior to enhance survival and defend against predators. What truly stands out about Gallimimus and its contemporaries is the diversity of life they coexisted with. From large herbivorous giants to speedy predatory carnivores, the Nemec ecosystem was a rich tapestry of ancient life, and Gallimimus was an integral part of it. The creation of Gallimimus began between 1986 and 1992, with 44 individuals brought to life by InGen on Isla Sorna. They were initially housed in holding paddocks, though the exact locations of these paddocks are somewhat mysterious. Some of these Gallimimus were eventually moved to Isla Nublar, where they were placed in paddocks closer to the southern regions of the island, and others near the front gate, possibly to serve as a final stop for visitors on their tour. If you've seen the film, you will recall the breathtaking scene in Jurassic Park where the Gallimimus herd is shown in flight-like coordination. These dinosaurs exhibited bird-like flocking behavior, with the smaller individuals at the center, likely a survival instinct to protect the vulnerable. The herd moved with such precision, much like a flock of birds evading predators. This behavior was groundbreaking for its time and reflected the then emerging theories on bird evolution, influenced by our scientific advisor Dr. Jack Horner. However, despite the bird-like movements, they intentionally avoided giving the Gallimimus feathers in the film, as the extent of feathered dinosaurs was still a subject of debate. After the events of the original Jurassic Park, the Gallimimus population on Isla Sorna saw a shift. When Hurricane Clarissa struck, injured personnel evacuated, leaving many dinosaurs, including a group of about 20 Gallimimus, behind. These Gallimimus were able to roam freely across Isla Sorna, where they shared their habitat with other herbivores like Mamenchisaurus and Parasaurolophus. In The Lost World, 2 adult Gallimimus were captured by Peter Ludlow's hunting party and intended for display at Jurassic Park San Diego. However, as you can imagine, these creatures had other plans, and they were freed by Nick Van Owen and his team. Later in Jurassic World, we saw a slightly different version of the Gallimimus, larger, with teeth, and a more muted orange color with a creamy underbelly. The Gallimimus live in the aptly named Gallimimus Valley, and some juveniles were even part of the Gentle Giants petting zoo. Despite reports from the Dinosaur Protection Group about their mistreatment, these creatures were once again free after the park's closure. By the time we get to see Camp Cretaceous, the Gallimimus population had settled near the original visitor center. These creatures, though experiencing some harassment from other predators like the Scorpius rex, managed to thrive on Isla Nublar. Tragically, the eruption of Mount Sibo in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom led to the loss of many Gallimimus, those whom were captured and taken to Lockwood Manor. Eventually, with the help of Dinosaur Protector Group, many of these creatures found a new home in the American West. In Jurassic World Dominion, we witnessed Gallimimus in new locations, seen running through suburban neighborhoods, grazing alongside cattle, and even escaping from a forest fire. It's clear that these remarkable creatures have adapted to a world where their presence is once again felt outside the confines of Jurassic Park. Behind the scenes, the Gallimimus was one of the first dinosaurs to be reimagined in the Jurassic Park films. The idea for the Gallimimus stampede came early in production, inspired by scenes from the novel, and was brought to life with incredible precision thanks to the work of Phil Tippett and the visual effects team. Conceptual artist Mark Crash McCreary drew inspiration from the emu for the Gallimimus design, with the final maquette, sculpted by Paul Mejias, was influenced by ostrich feet. The result was a visually stunning creature that captured the essence of what we know about dinosaur behavior. The Gallimimus stampede itself, filmed at Kualoa Ranch, was made possible by ILM's groundbreaking work in CGI. This allowed the Gallimimus to move with unprecedented fluidity, proving that CGI could truly bring dinosaurs to life in ways never seen before. Hey everyone, welcome back to my park, and we're gonna go ahead and build our Gallimimus enclosure exhibit. So this one was inspired by a Reddit post that I saw. That person went ahead and did this fence with this invisible line, but what I really liked about it is that he built it as a sort of like balcony area. And so all of this is lowered, and so you get a nice little viewing area from up here. But I've also gone ahead and built another viewing area. Everything else is going to be pretty low. And then I like the way he set up the foliage all around, so we're going to do that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. First thing I saw that this person did was line all of this area with rocks. So we're going to do that all the way around. Another thing here that I went ahead and did for this enclosure, so you guys can see which one you like the most. So on this area, you'll notice that I do have this fence along with this other fence. That's, you know, a nice little decorative fence that we have here. So that's one thing you can do, as it was seen on the Reddit post. But what I went ahead and did is replaced it with an invisible fence, just so that, you know, you get this nice little viewing area with the decorative fence. You know, and, you know, a nice bit of change from the usual. So once we're done with those rocks, let's go ahead and put our water. With that done, let's just go and focus on our terrain. Mostly, like I said, since we have those rocks up there, let's go ahead and build some more rock terrain up here. And yeah, with that, I think everything else is just going to remain grass. You can add some sandy area around this part right here, since gives us a nice little outline for the lake. We'll have the sand pop out just a little bit on this side, that way it's, you know, not all too green. And these are Gallimimus, so you are going to be running a lot, so, you know, we'll put a bit of dirt, since, you know, these dinosaurs are going to be running around, and as you see in zoos, the grass eventually turns to dirt, just due to how much it gets, you know, used. But it won't look too bad because we're going to go ahead and add our foliage. So we're just going to stick to Temskia, some ground leaves, and this is what Gallimimus eats in this game, along with some of the forest. But the forest, I won't use this one. I'll just use ahead and use some of the decorative redwoods and conifers. And I know in my previous videos I've mostly stuck to a lot of variety of foliage, but on this one I think we're just going to stick to the ferns. And I think the only other thing we have here that the Gallimimus likes is the leafy climbers. So, you know, that's going to be our main terrain. So we just go ahead and add it throughout the rest of the enclosure. And honestly, that's pretty much it. Right now, we're just going to go ahead and blend in the rest of the dirt. That way it looks a bit more natural. You know, a nice little homage to the original movie. We'll go ahead and add the original piece of wood from the movie. So the only thing, like I mentioned, I was going to add just a couple of more, you know, redwood trees, some conifers around, just to kind of, you know, give it a big mix of foliage. This graceful herbivore with its ostrich-like appearance makes Gallimimus a beautiful but deadly addition to your Jurassic Park. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.